We are live.
We are live.
Live.
Thank you for tuning back in to Mission Property Management and the podcast title that we both forgot the name of.
Utah Rental Property Insider.
Utah Rental Property Insider. Welcome back to Utah Property Rental Insider.
Yeah, we'll get it.
There we go. Today we're going over the passive income myth. What DIY Utah landlords need to hear. We're here with Nate Killpack and Parker Nelson. You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Nate Killpack.
I'm Parker.
Yeah, help around here where I can.
Yeah, he does things. We both do things.
We do things. Yeah. So everyone's selling the dream of that real estate is passive income. You know that you can buy property, you just collect the rent check, and you're good to go. You never, if something breaks, great, you have to go fix that then. But if you're a self-managing landlord in Utah County, especially in our area, there's a lot of things to do, especially with seasons and all of that. That dream, feels more like a second job. Like It takes a lot of time to manage rental property and adds a lot of stress and headache and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. So today we will be exposing exposing the myth of passive income. So today we will be exposing the myth of passive income. We'll be giving 3 big lies that most landlords believe are passive income and what it really takes to build an income that doesn't eat up your life.
Yep. Yeah, and the reality is that you don't need to do all of this, right? You can buy this part of your freedom back by implementing a good property manager, or even just building out the systems yourself if you really are wanting to do it, and we can help kind of coach you through all of that.
Yeah. So Nate, when you hear investors talk about passive income, where do they usually go wrong right out of the gate?
So I think passive income generally across even any asset class is a bit of a farce. It's a lie, and I think especially in real estate, it's probably the least passive of a lot of these asset classes. It carries with it a lot of the biggest benefits, especially with taxes and things offsetting income, which we'll talk about later. I think ultimately people buy real estate, even if they're buying new properties, they're under the impression that, once I have tenants in the property, I don't have to think about it again. But that's just not true.
Yeah, no. Within the first week, you'll be getting texts and phone calls again, and it's never truly passive.
Whether it's about a lease situation or their pet or neighbors or, parking or...
neighbors. Gotta love them.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the biggest gut-punching moment for a first-time landlord that happens often here in Utah?
Probably a water heater breaking would probably be the biggest one. So water heaters cost anywhere between, on the really cheap end, like $1,500 with like a really cheap labor. Probably an unlicensed plumber, up to like $2,500. And so water heaters need to get replaced, between every 7 to 15 years on a good one. But sometimes they'll break earlier, and then even just taking care of that and warranting it out, if it has a warranty or whatever, is still kind of a pain. And then just the potential water damage from all of that. But I'd say that's number one. There's a lot of little ones, but that's like a bigger cost one. They're like, that's like half of the month's rent and takes up all of my profits for the year or whatever it is if they're running on small margins. Yeah.
Yeah, and we just replaced the water heater about a month or 2 ago, huh?
There was we replaced probably 4 water heaters in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Kind of, when it rains, it pours, right?
Yeah, they're fun. They're fun. They're heavy.
Yeah.
The 3 lies of passive income. Myth 1, buy properties, sit back, get paid. Myth 2, rent checks are automatic. How does Utah's legal environment make automations trickier than people expect?
So there's a few things we can automate in our systems and within our leases, like charging late fees automatically when tenants don't pay. So if you have a property management software that you use, You can set that up automatically. But if some things can't be automated, like notices. So anything regarding serving a tenant a notice for non-compliance, lease violations, unpaid rent, anything like that, anything dealing with that, you have to manually do. So you have to go serve them a notice, knock at their door. If they don't answer, you have to post it on their door. You have to follow up with them that way. But yeah, so as far as automating those aspects of the leasing process and potential eviction processes, there's a few rules we gotta follow.
What's the cost of missing one key system, like not screening properly or not enforcing lease terms?
Yeah. So if you give an inch, they'll take a yard. Is that the saying? I don't know what the saying is, but
take a mile.
yeah. So ultimately, it's the same principle where it's like if you let a tenant pay rent late once and you waive the fee or whatever, then that's not going to be the last time that's going to happen. Like, I got away with it. I didn't have any problems paying late. So I would say just adhere strictly to your lease. You can still be kind, right? But
right.
but yeah, just sticking to the lease, which is most important, and more important than all of that, before you even get to the lease, is screening. So this is something that we'll reiterate time and time again, is because screening is probably the very most important part of all of this, is being able to find, first attract, so our marketing, attracting the right clients or tenants in, which if your property's kind of run down, needs a new paint job, you're not going to attract the right people. And so keeping the quality of your property at a high standard where it's attracting a lot of great applicants, people that have good financials, they're going to take care of the property because they take care of other things, aspects of their life. And then, once you are able to attract them, then being able to screen them, making sure that they are everything that you hope that they are. And that's having a good process in place for your rental application and review process. And then, just having a thorough, clean lease that you'll be able to stick to and help them stick to.
Yeah, lease is probably one of the most important. And myth number 3, once you own it, you are set. What do you think about that?
I mean, I'd say, they always say time in the market is better than timing the market, right? So with real estate, I think is being set in one aspect of it is partially true.
Yeah.
That a lot of people are hesitant to even get in the game. But I'd say getting in is half the battle, maybe even a little more than half the battle. But you're not set as far as what work that you need to, that you're done working. It basically just allows you to now control an asset, and what do you need to do in order to control the asset properly to help yourself accomplish the goals that you have for yourself.
Yeah, I think it comes with if you buy a multiplex or you're just gonna rent your basement out, people are like, all right, I'm cool, okay. 6 months later, something breaks or they decide they need to move for some reason, and it's an ongoing process always. It's not just buying it and being like, cool, there comes the money.
Yep. And even just with that, having good renewal process, so it's like by the time the tenant comes around, a year comes around, it's like, okay, they're just going to stay. They're always going to stay. We leased it to them. They're good people. They like it and stuff. They're just going to stick around. They're not. They're going to leave at some point. And so either having a good system in place where it's like you have good understanding on when they're going to leave to help prepare yourself, to give yourself enough time to fill the gap so you can minimize the time where the property is sitting vacant is going to help your
big time
cash flow a lot.
Big time. Yeah, and I mean, real estate can be passive, right? And so there are a couple ways that you can make it a little bit more passive. And with these 3 levers, you can actually make your real estate journey passive.
Yeah. So the first lever that you definitely want to set up and build out for yourself is systems. So if you own one property, using a property management software like one through Rentler, or you can use Zillow's free one. We'd recommend Inago. Inago is just another free platform that you can utilize if you just own a single property. If you start to stack properties, have a few, then I'd recommend something different, probably something similar to like Door Loop. It's a little bit more. It costs a little bit more, but it's definitely going to save you on the accounting side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So, but any of these property management softwares, what they're going to allow you to do is build out systems for rent collection, for leasing, renewals. Yeah, it's going to allow you to set up systems for leasings, for renewals, for a way for tenants to be able to communicate with you and keep records of any of the maintenance related items and communication. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say that.
And more importantly, a system that eventually replaces you, right? So if
Right.
you're taking too much time collecting rents or worrying about accounting, if you have a system in place for that or maintenance, it does end up feeling, you may pay a little bit more, but at the end of the day, it starts to become more passive.
Right. Yeah, and if you with that, if you have if you're manually doing things and have checklists for yourself to do, make sure you're taking care of. Versus having a system where it's like when the tenant or whoever's entering the system that you've created, they're like, oh, the checklist needs to be done this way. It needs to be presented to the owner in this way if I want something done. Then it saves you a ton of time on the back end.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And another lever is people who replace you. So if you're not catching on to the theme, find ways to get yourself replaced.
Yes.
It goes back to maintenance, things like that. Hiring is buying back your time. You can find vendors that work well with you. And if you have a niche and things that you actually want to do, that's fine. But if you work a 9 to 5, if you're a W-2 employee, or you're in the real estate world and you're out there trying to prospect, you can't take your prospecting time or your work time to go check on a water heater or an HVAC system, or if hardware's falling off a door.
Yeah, exactly. You want to create a team, someone who you can rely on, who is reliable, and who communicates well. That's going to be a huge one for your sanity and for the sanity of your tenants. Is someone who can communicate well and let everyone know what's going on.
Yeah. If you are a self-managing landlord, this is a question for you.
Okay.
How do you know it's time to delegate those tasks to somebody else?
Yeah, I'd say overall, delegate immediately. So when you buy the property, there's aspects that you don't want to handle. Find the right people to do that. So whether it's like, I don't know how to do any maintenance, it's either like you're going to spend a lot of time learning that skill, or finding a good partner, a good handyman, or whatever it is that you can just have on speed dial when you need them. And then like the long-term aspect of it is like, you're not going to want to manage your properties in retirement. Like you're just not. Like you're going to want to be with your grandkids. You're going to be doing hobbies. You're going to want to be doing whatever it is that you want to do. You're not going to want to be on the beach and taking phone calls from tenants that are having issues with their toilet. Like literally. And so finding a path to be able to get to that point where you, at the end, the goal is to be able to sub everything out and replace yourself entirely, right? And so, finding eventually, if it's not today, at some point, a path to be able to find the right property manager to help you. Yeah,
absolutely. With that comes lever 3, tools that will automate you. And this is my favorite. Nate's really good at building out these systems and that kind of automate us. And, to get a little more personable, Nate's about to have his sixth kid, and he's building out AI Nate right now. And so he's building out a system for me if I have questions to ask the AI. And if they, if we go through these processes that it can't answer us, then, I'm going to jump back in and be like, hey man, sorry to, bother you while you're having your baby, but I got questions, there's tons of ways you can do that. And, Nate's got a couple favorites. One of my favorites is Calendly. I love Calendly. We don't have to deal with texting back and forth if this time works for a showing or if this time works for a meeting, right? Calendly just has it there. It's a link. You can build out an automated message to send to people with that link to then just book an appointment or book a showing. And for the most part, if it's a vacant unit, we have a digital lockbox that'll just shoot them a code too. So they're not even reaching out to you for codes, and that saves us time, a lot of time.
Yep. Yeah, there's so many things that you can put into place. We've learned a lot about this over the past couple of years as we've built out a lot of these systems. So if you want to implement any of these tools, or you won't even know what's out there, schedule a call with us. We'd love to chat with you about your individual property, your individual needs, and even just give you some pointers on
even maintenance questions, right? Like if we're here to kind of service you guys. We're not here to, we'll get business other ways. And so if you are a new owner and new manager and you got questions on maintenance or certain tasks to help you make your life easier, let us know. It's hassle free. If you need vendors, we have vendors on speed dial. That they would love to have your business too. So,
yeah. As far as this technology that we're talking about, for the most part, we're implementing these things to help, systematize things, help save us time. Eventually, for the hands-on kind of stuff, having a team to be able to do all of that. There's a little bit of resistance, I'd say, technology-wise. Especially for older generation, my parents and stuff don't adapt as well. Again, we're here ultimately to help give tips and tricks and help you implement those things along the way as well, if you want help. So.
Yeah, as scary as AI might seem, it's going to be very helpful in certain ways.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. The last segment that we want to go through is what passive income really means, and is it achievable, right? In real estate, if it's able to be done.
I think with the help of us, we can make it passive for you.
Exactly. And the way that we would treat, portfolio properties is more like an asset manager, where it's, we try to not to bother owners other than based on certain criteria of when likely you as an owner would want to be involved. So the way that we run our thresholds and everything, just so you're aware, you're welcome to reach out and we can talk through the details, but we have a threshold of $250. If it's less than $250 and it's a necessary item that needs to get repaired, so whether that's a functional item and or a hazard type problem for a tenant, so the top rack on their dishwasher broke and they can't wash their dishes anymore, that's going to be definitely under than $250, and we'll just take care of that. A leaking faucet, drips, things like that, they just wanted to resolve, that's going to be less than that. Some other things that maybe wouldn't, classify as that, as anything cosmetic. And so, our goal for our clients is we would, we're protecting them, we represent them in the deal, and our customer, our combined mutual customer, is the tenants. And so helping to serve them in a way that helps keep them happy. They want to take care of the property, they like us still.
Hopefully
we're doing all those things that help them do that. And then ultimately protecting the owner's asset and managing that appropriately, and able to help save money and funds wherever we can. So,
that's pretty much it for us today. Passive income is a reward. It's not a right, but with the right systems, you could work your way into it.
Yep. And you build it ultimately by replacing yourself slowly over time. So from being a DIY-er, doing everything yourself, to be a DIY-er, doing it specifically, defining what that means, doing it yourself, and then eventually having someone do everything for you, and you just be able to have and control the asset and have someone else manage it for you.
Utah landlords face a lot of unique pressures, a lot of weather, legal pricing, but it also comes with a massive opportunity if you do it right. And so it's worth the risk and worth going for.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, even the tax advantages alone, if you can control an asset for a long period of time, it will benefit you just with appreciation and with cost savings against your income for your rental. So,
and if your rentals are starting to feel like a second job, go ahead, reach out to us at missionpropertymanagement.com.
Yeah, we'll either help you strategize on how to improve your systems, or offer you to manage your properties for you, or help train you a little bit more. So,
however we can help you. Thanks for tuning in to Utah Real Estate Rental Insider.
Yeah, close. So,
dang it.
Utah Rental Property Insider.
Utah Rental Property Insider.
Yeah, we'll get it right. Or we'll change our name.
Yeah,
okay, we'll catch you next time. Nice. Boom.
Wow.